A very happy Monday evening to anyone who is joining us on the live stream, and a very happy whatever day and whatever time it is to you if you are listening to the podcast later. This is United Sessions. I'm Lucas Cash, joined by my amazing host, friend, and support network, David Carl. Dave, we are really, really excited about this one tonight. I think we have to be incredibly careful because there's some spoiler aspects of this whole thing that we don't want to give away until it's time to make the joke. So instead of potentially getting ourselves in trouble, I just thought it might be nice to send out a sentimental note to everybody who's tuned into this and to everyone who's tuned into this over the last 8 or 9 weeks. The support of this has been amazing, right? It's been unreal to have our community once again rally around something that we're doing. You know, when it's the community initiatives and the work that the lads are doing on the pitch, that's easy to see why they're getting behind it. When it's a couple of jokers like me and you just kind of messing about, it just goes to show you how good-hearted people are. So I just want to extend a special thank you to a million different people. I don't want to miss someone's name, but all of you that have supported this from the beginning, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We made it to 10 episodes, which is shocking in and of itself. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in, download, listened, had a great time with us, or even a mediocre time because we're not that entertaining. But it's been a lot of fun so far. We've had some really great guests, including today when we're going to have our good friend Daniel Bruce on, as well as, we're not going to spoil it, Lucas mentioned earlier, but a prominent English soccer analyst that I think you all probably know pretty well, going to come on in and have a conversation with us as well. So it's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, it's getting the boys back together, and it couldn't be at a better time. We are in the first official match week of USL Championship season 2021. Had an amazing preseason. We'll definitely talk to our guests about some of the highlights of all of that. So really looking forward to this one. Really looking forward to catching up with everyone, and picking the mind of probably one of the greatest analysts in British football, and really see what he thinks as it relates to this little team across the pond. So before we get into all of that, let's clean a little bit of house and hit that first break.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are proud members of the Borellis Podcasters Guild. They support local. We support local. They are wonderful people. Lots of great podcasts through the Borellis Podcasters Guild, including 10 Drink Minimum. They do a lot of really great stuff there. If you are interested in hosting a podcast, learning how to podcast, they have lots of lessons, things like that. But check them out, Borellis Podcasters Guild, on all of social media.
We crossed the 500 downloads threshold, which is wonderful. I mean, it's a modest beginning, but it's a beginning that probably we're not deserving of. But we are getting people to listen. We are getting people to tune in, and for some reason they're on board with what it is we're doing here. So if you're looking to be a part of this, if you want to support this podcast in any way via corporate partnership, we'd love to have you as a part of the family. It's just a matter of reaching out to us at info@newmexicoutd.com, and we will field any of those inquiries. There is probably no idea as of right now that's too outlandish that we're not interested in having a conversation with you about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, again, it's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you along for the ride. And if you get a chance, give us a rating, review, download on wherever you get your podcasts. That could be iTunes, could be Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever. It helps us get seen by more people. Again, our podcast is mostly about community. We talk about soccer and we talk about New Mexico United because we love those things. But it first and foremost about community. We want more people to see those things. So join us, hang out with us, give us a rating, give us a review. We love having you on board.
And on that side, Dave, there is a pro tip. If you subscribe to the podcast, I've discovered this, when we put out a new episode, it automatically downloads it for us. Obviously, we'd love for you to download that. That's an iTunes thing. So for all of you using iTunes, even if you don't want to listen to it, obviously we'd love if you listen to it after you downloaded it. But quite honestly, the bacon is made in the game of the downloads. So if you can just give us a subscription, that is one of the most powerful things you can do to support our message and support us getting further reach out there. Dave, on the other side, a mystery English analyst and our dear friend Daniel Bruce.
For her. Para ellos. For them. For all of us.
For our families, we stay home. For our communities, we keep our distance. For our state and our fellow New Mexicans, we wear our masks. As New Mexicans, we're no strangers to hardship. Anytime something is put in our way, we prove that we can overcome it. The sacrifices that we make today will create a better tomorrow for all of New Mexico. Somos Unidos.
And we are back on episode 10 of United Sessions. I'm Lucas Cash. He's David Carl. And we are joined by our good friend, New Mexico United midfielder, sometimes forward, sometimes defender, Daniel Bruce. Brucey, so good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's very kind.
Now, I know that you have been waiting. You have been waiting with great anticipation to see who this analyst that we're bringing in is. And I just want, I don't want you to get starstruck, okay? But this is a guy who's written such titles as Bangers and Mash for the Stodgy British Soul. This is a guy who has really brought it from the soccer literature perspective. It's our distinct pleasure to welcome into the podcast Mr. Nigel Higginbotham. Nigel, are you there? Can you hear us? Nigel, you're muted.
Sorry, not really
you're
good technology, am I?
It's tough. It's tough. You've got a lot of important stuff to do, like writing Jap Stand By Me or Set Bladder Control. We know that you are very, very involved in the soccer journalism realm. And you've made your eyes available to watch some of this football that's happening across the pond. What have you seen from America, whether it's the USL Championship, whether it's New Mexico United, whether it's this lad, Daniel Bruce, sitting right in front of us?
Lads, U.S. soccer is so good. It's so good. Some of the best football in the entire world. Top class.
Please keep it going, Caleb. I mean, Nigel.
Nigel Higginbotham.
My name's Nigel, please. Yes.
Nigel, tell us about your outfit, my friend.
Well, isn't it? It's Sir Nigel, right? You were knighted, if I remember correctly.
Sir, yes. Sir
Sir
Nigel, please. Get it correct, my lads. Get it correct, please.
Yeah.
Brucey,
You didn't work this hard in this realm to have people just call you by your first name. There has to be a sir that's associated with that. We noticed you're sporting a very, very lovely kit there. Probably a hard find. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Chelsea, one of my favorite teams. It's the 1991 kit, I believe. Away side. See the Umbro. See the Commodore. Old logo. It's decent.
It is in fact decent. Dave, what do you have for Nigel Higginbotham or Daniel Bruce?
Well, I would love to know, Nigel. Again, you are a scholar of the game, somebody who has been following football around the world for decades. Your analysis from what you've seen, I know you've watched a little bit of video on our friend here, Daniel Bruce, your analysis of his play.
Wow. What a top player Brucey is. This guy's unbelievable. Lucas, I think you said it before we started. The guy plays forward. He plays wing back, defender, midfielder, wherever you want him. I guarantee you, if he put on the gloves, clean sheets all day, every day.
What do you have to say to that, Brucey? What do you have to say to that glowing analysis from one of the world's premier analysis minds?
I must say I am somewhat starstruck. Nigel, what a hero! Obviously, he is in the in the fabric of British analysis for the game of football. Phenomenal. But I don't know what is worse, that British accent or that horrible Chelsea Scumbro kit. That is one of the worst numbers I have ever seen in my entire life.
My fit is unbelievable.
Brucey, that's very clearly Nigel's natural way of speaking. I don't think it's very nice of you to make fun of him. I mean, Dave doesn't make fun of me for having just a hint of country bumpkin accent in the background. Like, you've got a fellow countryman here and a man who loves the sport that you do. I feel like that might be unnecessarily harsh. That's just how he talks.
Yeah, it's that natural Australian accent in it that Nigel's got there.
Yeah, it's decent, isn't it? It's decent. We're not all polished. We're not all polished, are we, Bruce?
Look like he's just been hunting kangaroos or something. You got the hat as well. Just perched over in some rainforest.
It's sunny across the pond, isn't it?
Not in England, it's not, lad.
No, it is, mate. Mate.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it looks lovely, that. That's a familiar apartment,
That's demon.
looks a lot like mine in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Maybe, lad, maybe.
So
my goodness.
let's talk a little bit, Brucey, about New Mexico United's preseason, of which Nigel Higginbotham definitely wasn't a part because he was in England doing soccer analysis. So he can't really share any insights, but you can definitely share some insights. How'd the last couple of weeks go for you guys?
Yeah, I think this preseason has been a steady upward climb, really, in reflection. I think we started against El Paso and saw moments that were good, but obviously didn't get a result. And I think each and every game we've started to put more and more kind of portions of a game together. So it was 10 minutes here or there and 20 minutes, and then I think it's kind of obviously come to somewhat of a crescendo against Phoenix a couple of days ago with a very good performance and a very good victory. I will say it's preseason, and for all the qualities we can take from that and all the things we can, it's all gearing towards that first game of the season. And if the result and the performance isn't right against RGV, then it was all somewhat for nothing, really. So we have to understand that it is a process, and we're moving towards that. And it's been a great preseason. It really has. I've really enjoyed it.
And Brucey, I'm not sure if you noticed that the distinguished Sir Nigel Higginbotham did have to leave the stream. He's got important soccer analysis to do. But we do have a surprise guest joining us, Mr. Kalen Ryden. Welcome in, Kalen.
Oh, my
How are you guys?
We're
Doing
good.
great.
How are you? What have you been up to like the last 15 minutes?
Oh, I just got done chugging a Topo Chico. I've been hanging out with my dog. Nothing too crazy.
Good. It's great to see. We were just asking Brucey his impressions on the preseason and everything that went down with that. Curious to hear from you. How's everything coming together? What are you seeing from the development side of everything? And what have been some of those favorite moments of the 2021 squad gelling together?
Yeah, I mean, preseason's been quite a success. Obviously, our first game against El Paso, was a loss. That was early doors, but I think the team's come together well. Really honed in on all of our principles and how we want to play and how we want to attack, how we want to defend. I don't know if I have a favorite moment of kind of how we've all come together as a team, but just like how quickly like the new guys were able to get acclimated and hop in on banter. It didn't take long for guys to be joking or to be able to take jokes, and that's always a good sign of like really good chemistry.
We're still working on Touche.
Yeah.
I hope he's watching.
Those Ivy Leaguers.
I live with him. I think he's next door.
Wanted to ask you guys, because we didn't really get to see much of it because it was a closed friendly. Obviously, good scoreline in Phoenix. How did you guys feel coming out of there? How did things go?
Kalen's the person to ask. He was captain on the day.
No, it was. Obviously. Scoreline was great, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that matters when it comes to football. Maybe at times it wasn't the prettiest of games, on both sides of the ball, us on the ball and them on the ball. But at the end of the day, we took our opportunities very well. And I think we limited, Phoenix to some opportunities. And being able to keep a clean sheet was a big deal. But Alex didn't have much to do on the day, which was a big step forward. I think Brucey alluded to it earlier, though. It's preseason, and yeah, 4-0 looks nice against Phoenix, but our season starts on Saturday, and we're looking forward to that.
And going
without giving away,
go ahead, Lucas.
Go ahead. All right. Now we're going to turn into this. Okay. Now it's become a British standoff of polity. Talk to us without revealing anything that's going to get us in trouble and get us a mean and stern text from the coaching staff later. Talk to us about the changes in RGV and the approach this year. They've been a group that's been a little bit closer to the bottom of the cellar as opposed to the top the past couple of years, but we know they've made some coaching changes. We know they've made some organizational changes. So what is sort of the focus going down into the Valley to square off against our old pal, Ron Patel? Brucey, you take this one first.
Yeah, I mean, we know there's changes there in that unit, and like there is in a number of other teams, Colorado and a few that are happening around. And it's obviously very, very early doors in the season. And I think it's very easy to get bogged down in he's here, so they're going to play this way, and they've brought in this player and they've brought in that player. And it's good to have somewhat of an understanding of what the ideas and tendencies of teams But if you spend too much energy and time just wondering and thinking about opposition's players and individuals, it can really take you away from what you want to do. And for the past, however many weeks it's been that we've been working together and building on results and building on performances, it would be a real shame now to take our eye off us and start focusing too much on other teams. And I think the players that we have in this squad have been prepared and sharpened in such a good way that we could just continue that this week following into RGV and kind of just continue that process of building on performances and results. And we'll be prepared, and they always like to play good football. It's what they do. But ultimately, we have to be, as Kalen said, very much focused on the principles of how we want to play and the foundation of what New Mexico United do, and implement our style of football on them, whether we play them at home or away.
Yeah. And obviously, we don't want to look beyond the first opponent, obviously, focus on RGV, all of that. But I would imagine for both of you, it's exciting. The third match of the season is a home match in the state of New Mexico. How much does that mean to you guys? Kalen, I want to start with you, to be able to play here in our state with our fans at your back.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my first, we can say, real home game. I know we had, El Paso, Colorado, and Tucson here at Mesa del Sol, which was nice. Don't get me wrong. Playing a game in Albuquerque was lovely. But, in the stadium, at the lab, with those fans, behind me, it's going to be incredible. I really can't wait, and it's been long overdue. Finally, after, since I got here, in January of 2020, so 15 months almost. I'm finally getting my home game 15 months later. So it's been a long time coming. There's a lot of anticipation, definitely a lot of excitement from my standpoint, and I really I cannot wait.
Well, Brucey, same question for you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lucas.
Dave, you're exactly right. That should go to Brucey.
Same question for you, Brucey. It's been a while since you've been able to play a game in front of the lab.
Yeah, it's been way too long, and obviously, like Helen said, something we're very, very excited about, and I think having that stage to perform for the fans of New Mexico and to get a result and win for New Mexican fans in New Mexico, there is something different about that. There's certainly something special about going into somebody else's backyard and beating them there, but actually bringing fans together in our state where we belong, getting a result. There's obviously nothing like it, and it's what we will be fully committed to do, getting a result on that third match there.
It's going to be beautiful. And here's what I think is sort of a low-key, subtle, beautiful part about the whole thing. Excuse me. Kalen, you brought up preseason, which was, these pods, about 250 to 300 fans. Great. Certainly not lacking in any of the passion or any of that. And then we get to kick that up to about 3,000 in stadium. But these public health orders keep getting better, and we're just going to slowly keep getting more. It's my personal hope that, Kalen, you get to see the 13, 14, 15,000 that we saw back in 2019. I know the 3,000 to start the season are going to bring it with every ounce of energy they have, but just seeing that slowly grow into what it is going to be spectacular. I want to transition briefly over to the academy. Brucey, you are doing some coaching stuff with our academy lads. They had a very, very successful weekend, and I'm sure you take no small amount of credit for the performance that we saw on Saturday. But what's that been like working with those guys, and what do you hope to see grow out of that program for yourself and for these kids?
Yeah, that's been such an encouraging time. What a great set of young lads, and that goes down to, I think, Zach, Lucian, Paul, and how he's kind of conducted the sessions there, and being on the field with these lads, great guys. And I know we've spoken about this a couple of times in the locker room, that what makes a difference for us is when young players ask us questions. When young players come to older players and ask questions, what should I be doing here? Have you thought about this? How can I be a better player here? It lets us know they care. They're not just eating up information and they're just sat there. they're sponging all this new stuff, principles of play, how we view the game, our common lexicon, and how we communicate with each other, and all these really important things that they want to ask questions, they want to get better. And what a great set of young men that I think will go on and achieve things that maybe at this point even they don't think that they will be able to right now. Some very, very, very talented quality players in there, and I just think it's been a really exciting time instilling in them our ethos and how we approach training sessions and how we approach the professional side of the game. And it's helped me learn a lot as well. I mean, even in this off season, thanking the USL Championship for helping me in attaining my C license and starting that coaching journey. It's been nothing but a learning journey for myself in both with and from the players, and watching Paul Lees and how he coaches and communicates. It's been a really fantastic time, and what a great set of guys that I think will go on and achieve wonderful things for this state. The state should be very, very proud of those guys. They've done wonderfully so far.
We certainly are. Kalen, kind of a similar question to you. You've been involved with this as well. Obviously, I was watching the match against Tucson, and specifically the match after the match where it was kind of partially first teamers, partially academy players playing in that match. And after the third goal, I don't remember who scored it, but after that, there was one of the academy kids scored that third goal, and you get all of the guys together. You bring over these academy kids and you're huddling them up and having this conversation. Like, it's great we scored a goal, but you're giving instruction and you're helping these kids, figure out, what's next. And for me, that was my favorite part of the entire match, seeing these first teamers care just as much about, how these kids are succeeding as they do about the first team success. What does the academy mean to you, and why is that so crucial?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the academy and kind of what its purpose is going to be is the kids that are kind of next in line, if you will. You know what I mean, in terms of representing this badge at the professional level. So, I know the importance of that. And so, even though they are younger, but for them to get, maybe a more real dose of, what that may look like, I wanted to treat that game as serious and as professional as possible and give them that experience. So, the academy, it's been great so far. It's only going to get better. And I just think it's really important for the younger guys to really see, what it takes, what it entails, to play at the professional ranks. And, I think that's why I took, that upon myself in that game to treat it in that aspect, to give them more knowledge and understanding of what that may look like for them in years to come.
How impressed have you been with these guys? I mean, I say kids, but I mean, they're 17, 18, 19 years old, and they're a heck of a lot better than I was at the peak of my career. Career.
It's not hard, mate.
That's fair, actually.
Yes, more making fun of David. More making fun of David.
Let's do that.
He did it. He goes.
Yeah, no, I played high school soccer. Anyway, but I mean, what's it like playing with those guys? I mean, again, you're excited to help them along to the next step. You mentioned they're the future, but these kids are in some spaces, approaching USL level, I would imagine. I mean, they look really solid.
Yeah, I mean, and a few of them do train with us. But what's been most impressive to me is to see like their growth already from the first day that they trained with us. I'm again not saying that they were bad or they're bad players, but from that first day to where they are now, like the growth that they've shown and like what it does for them to be able to train with us and get that experience is so good and so noticeable, from our standpoint. And Brucey said earlier, just them being comfortable, like coming up to us and asking us questions, and then us being comfortable, like having conversations with them, like they're trying to learn, but it's happening for them. Like they are learning and they are becoming better players, and that's really, really awesome.
No, it's been unreal to watch. I can't really dote on it too much because it was watching both of you. It was this simultaneous blend of like, I'm here to teach you stuff, but also I'm your teammate. And so like Kalen, your tendency to yell out it's Kalen's when you're going up for headers, right? That didn't change when you were playing with the academy guys. You talked to Steve and you talked to Paolo out on your right side like it was Rosh or Justin or Touche or Sammy out there. There was no like sort of putting the kid gloves on and saying like, okay, well, I'm going to coddle you and I'm going to do this whole thing. And so it was really just something else to witness. And if I hadn't had a chance to say it before now, I definitely wanted to say it. That is some impressive pedagogy. So moosh the academy into the sandwich. So let's get back to the first team stuff. It is match week. We've talked a little bit about RGV. I want to talk about just sort of a brief glimpse behind the curtain that some of us may be curious about. What goes into this week leading into it in terms of, are all the trainings the same or do they get a little bit more differentiated? Is there more focus on maybe talking and the theory of things as opposed to the practice of things? Or is it just sort of business as usual that you guys have been doing it for 4 weeks now? Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
I think actually the coaching staff have done a very good job of, like I said, making it feel as though it's a transition. And so we had the first 2 weeks slightly more technical and then building in a lot more fitness, bigger areas. And then probably every preseason game we have treated like a USL championship game. Kalen said before the game to us all in Phoenix, right before we kick off, this is the first game of our season. And so there's no shocks then coming into this week of preparation. We had that week before Phoenix, prepared as it was our first game of the season, played our first game of the season, and we prepare again how we did the last week and how we did the last week. Obviously, there's tweaks here and there with what we really want to hone in on and focus on. And yes, there is an edge. It's the first game of the season, technically. But I think as far as being prepared mentally and continuing that level-headedness and laser focus onto just winning a football game. You alluded to it before when you were saying that Kalen jumps up for a header and wins a header against Tucson with the academy lads. It would be harder for him not to do that. That's who he is as a player. That's how he is, and he'll have stepped on that field and said, "I want to win, and I'm a winner, and these academy lads are with me to win this game." And so we'll do everything we can in our way to win this game. That's the same for every preseason game, same for every training session, and it will be for every single game we play home or away this season.
So you mentioned Kalen at the top here. A lot of new guys on the team, and they've kind of gelled quickly, been able to take, kind of the back and forth, the banter. Which of the players have you found of the new ones is the best as far as banter goes? Giving it, receiving it, all that kind of stuff. Who's the new Banta Claus?
Giving it. Well, I don't think anyone's going to top Brucey as the Banta Claus, but we might have a new one. Man, you know who I think is, well. I think, here. Let me maybe not go on the side of banter, but more of just like a great personality, like a good guy, fun guy to be around. It's probably Sergio Rivas. What a good personality, fun guy to be around. Not saying that his banter isn't great, but his just overall aura is just, it's really, really good.
Yeah. And as Adrian mentioned, he just had a piece that just aired on KOB about him. Sergio, good guy.
Sergio, good guy.
He just had a piece that aired about him.
Fine work, Dylan.
On KOB. That's producer Dylan having some fun in the background there. And I mean, we've got a lot of new guys this year. You mentioned the gelling's gone quickly. What is that like? For both of you here. Obviously, you both have been here. Brucey, you for 2 years. Kalen, this is going into your second year. What is it like when you bring in kind of a crop of new guys? How is that process typically? And you mentioned it went quickly potentially this year, but is it difficult to get people to kind of get in with the ethos or get in with how things flow and that kind of stuff when you bring in, again, a crop of new guys?
Yeah, I think, again, this reverts back to the quality and standard of recruitment from the coaching staff. And I'm sure Kalen would agree that it is so clear that so much thought goes into not just the quality of player or the necessary position, but is this individual somebody who is going to be a good fit for our ethos? Are they going to embody hard work, humility, and diligence? Is that something that's going to happen with this person? And if not, it's just very clear that they may be the perfect player in the right position, but if they don't embody that, it's just not going to work here. And I think that it's got to this point now where I expect every guy to walk into the locker room and be great and just be a great guy to get along with. And I couldn't agree more with Kalen. Sergio's a wonderful character, great guy to have around. As is Schwartzy, Touche. A lot of them are just people who are willing and hungry to learn, great to converse with, and I think it speaks testament to the quality of character that is recruited here at New Mexico United, and that's shown in everything that these guys do on and off the field, how they conduct themselves with people off and opponents, and yeah, I just think it's really is testament to who is recruited into this locker room.
You mentioned that expectation, Brucey. Kalen, I mean, do you think if you have that expectation, if the players who are already here have that expectation for the new players, does that help, a new player coming in realize, okay, this is what I need to do, and help kind of things smooth out faster?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does help incoming players because, they know why they've been recruited, and they know the locker room that they're going to be walking into. And so I think that adds like an aspect of comfortability. Yeah, that's a word, right? So, they kind of know already about the culture and kind of, how it works. And so they know that they're walking into a comfortable environment, which I think makes it easier for them. Because, I've been a part of, joining a new team that maybe doesn't have the culture or the, ethos like we do here. And not saying that it was difficult, but it's just maybe not as smooth. And because of, what we represent as players in a club and a state, it makes it easier for us to welcome in those players just because that's what we do, and they know that. And so it's really, really smooth and easier for them maybe rather than joining another club.
There is another way that me and Kalen know if somebody's a good guy to get along with in the locker room.
What's that, Bruce?
And that is if they wear Crocs.
Aha, the Croc plug.
The Croc debate has been one that's going on for a long time. And me and Kalen are firmly on one side of this debate. And I would like Lucas and David to decide which side of the fence.
Don't fall behind the curve.
Well, Kalen just made it very easy. You are both very clearly Team Croc.
Oh, Team Croc, my friend. If somebody walks into the locker room wearing a pair of Crocs, they're in my family. They can sit with me.
What is it about the Croc that speaks to you, Brucey? I mean, is it the weird foam space material? I
have a theory that Crocs have made the full circle. They are so horrifically bad that they are now exceptional. They're fantastic. And yeah, we're firmly behind the movement. They've made the full circle. They're so bad they're good. And if you want to be a good bloke,
big names are wearing Crocs. And I'm not just talking about Brucey. I'm talking about Justin Bieber, Post Malone.
Yeah.
I mean, celebrities have their own Croc lines. I mean, years ago, it was like, what are these things? Like, oh, these things are sweet. And it was like, no, these are horrific. They're back.
Somebody just said we need United Crocs in the store.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
It just so happens, Brucey, that's a big fan of yours. I believe that is my daughter, Belle, who is now advocating for Crocs in the store. So
Belle, that is absolutely phenomenal.
Team Croc. Oh, Tanari's mad. Tanari has shown his colors. He said this is a farce. So Tanari is clearly a leader in the anti-Croc group.
So I go ahead, Kalen.
I was going to say nobody on the team is with Brucey and myself. No. Everyone hates on him, but Brucey and I wear them. We're confident. We look great in them. But just wait. They're coming. And if you get in now, you'll be ahead of the curve. Brucey says this.
You'll be ahead of the curve. You don't want to be behind the curve.
So I've never worn a Croc in my life. It's not that I don't like them. It's that I've never tried them. I am very much on team moccasin. Love moccasins.
Yeah. Okay.
Swear all the time. But to that point, they're very warm, right? They work in the winter.
No breathability in those bad boys, my friend.
Maybe I need to get some Crocs for the summer.
Yeah.
Has to happen, mate. Get a pair of Arsenal Crocs.
Oh,
Arsenal defense has enough holes in it already. Don't need Crocs for that.
Oh boy. Oh
Croc
boy.
holding.
There he turned it full circle. I was going to say it's such a lack of quality piece of footwear that it fits really well with Arsenal. So that was just going to be my take on the whole thing. Goodness gracious, that was a gem we never hoped to uncover. So let's stay right here, okay? Because this is obviously the sort of content that people want. So you said, Brucey, you can tell a good person in the locker room by if they have a pair of Crocs. And then you said no one else in the locker room is pro Croc. So you telling me that the other individuals in this locker room are bad people?
I mean, I'm
No,
not
it's just
saying-
that you identify good people by
saying-
them.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like
they-
an instant identifier.
yeah, it is. This is very true. I think
You
so.
can
I
still
see.
be
So
solid.
someone can be good without having Crocs,
Oh,
but someone who
100%.
has Crocs is automatically good.
Like
100%.
I now know Sergio is a great guy. I love being around him. Great personality. But maybe that took me a couple days. But if day one he walks in with Crocs, I know
That's
right
it.
away.
That's it. And I think it's like one of those things where like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. You just know right away. Yeah, and it's so
Dave, I
funny.
don't know.
We get all this analysis on like upcoming season. We're so excited, talking about the academy, these great conversations. And then we start talking about Crocs, and the chat blows up.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
so-
saying. It's the
And
most
I
engaging
love,
topic we've
I
ever
love
had.
Crocs. Hashtag Team Croc.
Caitlin, are
maybe
you
instead of getting
trying
a
to get
full
something
Croc-
to show up on the Crocs radar where they offer you a sponsorship deal? You've said Crocs like 97 times in the last 3 minutes.
Oh wait, we're talking about Crocs?
Instead of getting a full Croc, maybe we just get one of the little pins that you can put in the holes. That's a United badge.
Oh yeah, those
That
have
would
a
be-
name.
that
What are
would be
those things
so good.
called?
Croc pins?
Yeah, they have like a name. I don't know. There's a specific name. for it.
It's not a lapel pin because Crocs are on your
Gibbets.
feet.
Gibbets.
Oh, gibbets.
Is that
Careful, Brucey.
I
Careful.
don't
Is
know.
that it?
That's something else entirely.
Oh, is it?
I have no idea.
No idea either. I don't know how we transition out of Team Croc talk, but I guess we can keep it in that sort of vein of like in this sort of building of the team.
You've got nurses on your side.
I can't even concentrate on
Exactly.
getting a question out.
Support the health workers. Support the health workers.
Yeah, if you don't like Crocs, you don't support health workers. You heard it
Yeah.
here first from Brucey.
agree.
Well, being a dad myself, I guess that's the best segue that I can have inside here. I want to talk about, again, the youth, not necessarily the academy on this side, but what this team means generationally to this state. Besides instilling in all of them a need to wear Crocs so that people identify you as a good person, what else have you guys witnessed? I know neither of you are native New Mexicans. Brucey, you've been here a bit longer. Kaylin, you got here in January of 2020, as you said. But from your observations in a really weird and limited time, what do you see this state representing for this community and the people of this community, and specifically the younger people? Brucey, you go first.
Yeah, I think obviously being here since the start and kind of learning more about the culture of New Mexico and what the people stand for and how they communicate with one another and myself. I think that there is there's a strand of being genuine that runs right through the state. Just people are so willing and happy to help at any corner that people have an issue. And I think that drives from maybe the state feeling like they've not been considered or looked down upon at times. I'm not sure. I'm from a very blue collar small town in England called Warrington, in between Manchester and Liverpool. And it's somewhat similar in that, there's maybe you've not got the big city, the big places that people want to come to or whatever, but there's the people here are so genuine, and it is the people that make a place, and just the culture of real hard workers that enjoy grafting, not just for themselves, but their families, for one another. The smaller pockets of communities that are around has been absolutely amazing to even be a part of for just a short period of my life. And it's somewhere that, I hope does continue. It's been a great experience being here, and I've learned so much from the New Mexican people and continue to as well. And so, yeah, just a real blessing to be here with how many genuine people are here. and how hardworking this state is. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
I don't want to besmirch your amazing answer that you just gave right there, Brucey, but I do appreciate the little glimpse into the gun show you just gave us right there. That was all right. For those of you listening on the podcast,
totally an accident. Yeah.
This is why you watch live, so that you don't miss out on pieces like that. Kaylin, same question to you, and then I want to talk to Brucey about good blokes jogging. But Kaylin, what has New Mexico meant to you so far?
Man, I think just kind of on Brucey's answer, kind of just like talking about New Mexico. When I think of New Mexico, I think of the word resilient. And I've said this before on interviews or whatever, but I think one of the first things that Josh Suggs ever told me was, you won't find like more prouder people of where they're from than New Mexico. And I've seen that through and through. And resilient ties into that because, again, I don't think New Mexico is viewed as this, like destination state, if you will. You know what I mean? When people like look at the United States, again, I'm not knocking the state. I just think as a general view, people aren't going to be like, oh, I'm moving to Albuquerque. But again, regardless of that view that people may have on this state, it doesn't matter to the people who live here, and that's the resilience. Like they're so just worried about themselves, like not in a selfish way, but just like, we're here in New Mexico and we're going to do things right. We're going to build communities. We're going to have strong families. Like, we're going to work hard. We're just going to do our thing here in New Mexico, and we're going to be great at it. And regardless of the viewpoint, from what I've seen in my short amount of time, is just we're just going to keep pushing no matter what's in front of us, and we're all going to stick together. And I think that's incredible.
I think that's brilliantly said, and that kind of really sums up New Mexicans as a whole, right? We're proud people. We've been told we're not good enough for the longest time, and our goal is to prove everybody wrong, not for them, but for us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, New Mexican has never really overtly concerned themselves about the opinions of external folks who don't really understand what the magic is all about. Brucey, you are working on a great new initiative. I'm going to help you out with a little bit. Dave's going to help you out with a little bit. Hopefully, Kaylin comes out and helps us out a little bit without embarrassing us too much. But let's talk a little origin story of Good Blokes Jogging and what we want to do with that initiative. And as much as I'd love to give you full reign here, we are a little bit up against the clock. So give us your Reader's Digest version of this amazing initiative.
Yeah, I'll be as quick as possible. My very, very best friends in England, coming out of lockdown in the UK, decided it was going to be a good idea for them to get out the house and start jogging. John, Matt, and Dan, the three of them, very, very British names, great lads, were my best mates for my entire life, and it helped them. It helped them physically, helped them mentally, and they began to continue to do it, and it grew and grew and grew, and they had more people joining them. And I just thought, guys, this is such an incredible thing that you're doing, that's so simple, but it's going to help so many people. And I think that we should do something with this. And, we sort of put our brains together somewhat, and we're still piecing flesh on the bones, but ultimately we are Good Blokes Jogging. And we are aiming to enhance men's mental and physical health through building relationships with local businesses and joggers. And basically it's going to be a cool new initiative to really enhance and help men's mental health. That here, even here in New Mexico, I mean, I always say with men's health, it's 3 times. So men are 3 times less likely to ask for help, whether that's from a family member or a clinic. Men are 3 times more likely to die from suicide, awful stuff. And men are 3 times more likely to revert to things like alcohol and drugs if they're finding issues, and not be vulnerable with one another, or have good conversation or help one another out. And at Good Blokes Jogging, we are just committed to see communities have stronger fathers, stronger brothers, better friends, co-workers, and ultimately make communities better through the channel of local businesses pairing with men. And being committed to enhancing their mental health.
And just so I can kind of make sure I get this right, summing it up, it's essentially a group of guys get together, go for a jog, end up at maybe a local pub, local restaurant, whatever it may be, grab a burger, grab a beer, talk about life, talk about mental health, talk about these kind of things. Do I have that right?
You got it right. Yeah, it's really, really simple. It's going to be, you know, guys coming together at a particular location, jogging short time. It's not going to be this huge fitness thing. This is just about health. Let's be healthy together. Let's get out the house. Let's move, and let's have a space and a time that's dedicated to good conversation and just gents available for each other and to be vulnerable with one another and talk about anxiety. Let's talk about insecurities. Let's talk about depression. These are things that aren't necessarily encouraged for men in definitely not in certain social circles for men growing up in different areas. And I think it's important for young lads as well as older blokes to know, hey, it's all right to not be okay. You know, we can chat about this stuff. And it's something that I'm really, really happy that guys like Kalen and Andrew Tenari, Juan Pablo, and a number of other people, both inside and outside the organization, are starting to get a hold of and make it their own, you know. And Good Blokes Jogging Albuquerque, we're hoping, is going to be the first chapter of Good Blokes Jogging. And we're really looking forward to seeing where it goes and how many people this can help.
Yeah, so I just to interject here, we are on Facebook Twitter and Instagram. Good Blokes Jog. I just put that in the chat if you guys want to put that up. And expect things to happen fairly soon, if I'm not wrong, Brucey.
It's still very much in the tertiary stages. We're putting flesh on bones. There's no real content out there as of yet. This is sort of the first. Like initial kind of putting it out there to anybody. But in the coming weeks, there will be movement in that area. So definitely, if you can and want to get behind it. Women are fantastic, men are fantastic, and making this community better through that channel is something that we're committed to do as far as men's mental health in this area.
Well, that's the sort of work we love you guys for. That's why this team has always been more than just 11 guys who kick a ball around, you know, once or twice a week. I think Jake Gutierrez, the president of the Curse, said it best when he was like, this team, this is family. They are members of our community, and it goes far beyond anything we could do. So as we tend to do on this show, we will transition from something very serious, very important, to something very dumb, which is me and Dave's game for the day. Just as a little heads up and a little bit of backstory before we go to the break, a couple of weeks ago, my good friend Brucey shared a little game with me called Football Quiz for us to play in the office. Now, this was his game, so it's very likely that he has the answers to all of these cards memorized and is just going to dunk on Kalen. Yeah. But Kalen, you're gonna give it a go, right? You're not scared.
Yeah, I'm not scared.
Oh, Good. This is a lose-lose situation for me. This is so unfair.
Yeah, either
Why?
Because either he wins and it's like, well, it's his game anyway, or he loses and it's like he lost in his own game.
I'm so nervous. All right,
Brucey, with friends like us, who needs enemies, right? So on the other side of the break, we're going to play a little football quiz.
¿Listos? Dale. ¿Listo?
Dale.
Kalen, how much fun was that video to put together?
It was a blast. I always feel like the behind the scenes and like the making of it are always like much more entertaining and more fun than the actual video. The video was sick, but like the entertainment, the laughs behind the scenes always make those much better.
We saw a couple of those behind the scenes, and they're really, really strong. So for those of you that are just joining us, we are now in the game portion. Some of you may have waited until the game portion to join us, and for that, we don't blame you. But we are going to play football quiz, a gift that was given to me by Daniel Bruce. This game is broken into 4 categories. So you can have throwback football, World Cup, general knowledge, or the Premier League. And so what we'll do is we'll go a little bit back and forth. I'd say, let's say the first one to 4, Dave, because we're a little bit shy on time. First one to 4 is the winner. You do have the option of stealing. You do have the option of stealing inside this game. So we like to keep it on the gentleman's rules here. Who would like to take the first question, Kalen or Brucey?
Go ahead, Bruce.
All right. Brucey, we're going to start with Premier League as the first topic.
Okay.
You ready for this?
All right.
All right, question for you. Who was the goalkeeper that Sergio Aguero scored against to secure the Premier League title in the 2011-2012 season?
QPR Paddy Kenny.
Wow.
Wow, this is going to be a
This
tough
guy
out.
is unbelievable.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was impressive. Well done, Brucey. All right, 1-0, Brucey. Kalen, you ready for your Premier League question? He's ready. All right, here we go. Kalen, Manchester City holds the record for the most points in a Premier League season, 100 points in 2017-2018. But who did they overtake to earn that record?
My Chelsea Blues.
1-1.
My Chelsea
That's correct.
Blues.
Fair play. I don't think I'd have got that actually. So that's pretty.
But you got Paddy Kenny.
Yeah, but you got
Paddy
Paddy Kenny? No way.
Paddy Kenny's a goat.
Dylan, up on the scroller, Paddy Kenny is the GOAT. It has to be up there right now. All right, Brucey, we are now transitioning to general knowledge.
Oh,
All right.
Which Italian footballer was known as the Blind Venetian?
I have absolutely no idea.
Italian footballer, the Blind Venetian.
Who was that guy with a rat's tail?
Your guess is as good as
Oh,
mine, Brucey. Except I know the answer because it's on this card.
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea.
Kalen, the
Kalen,
opportunity to steal?
Can you steal?
The Blind Venetian. Let's throw. What was that? Massimo Taibi? Taibi? How do you say it?
What? What?
What
Where
is
did you
it, kid?
get it?
Massimo?
Let's go.
Massimo Taibi? No way.
Taibi, that's what it is.
What? How have you got that? That's
Unbelievable.
My
2-1,
goodness.
Brucey. 2-1.
That's an absolute joke.
And now Kalen can extend the lead out to 3-1. Kalen, do you want Dave to read you a throwback football question or a World Cup question?
Throwback.
I had the World Cup ready, so let me get a throwback real quick. Hold on. All right, here we go. Who is the top goal scorer in the history of the Football League First Division?
Of the Football League, First Division? I don't know.
So essentially what the Premier League is now. So before
Oh,
it was,
so like-
yeah.
Oh, geez. I don't even have a guess for this. I have no idea.
All right.
Do you
All
have
right.
a Scooby-Doo about this one or what?
Well, Shearer's definitely the Premier League, and he wasn't around long enough beforehand. And
No.
so I'm thinking, who was just before that? Who scored a lot of goals before then? Ian Rush, Liverpool.
It's not Ian Rush. It is Jimmy Greaves. He had 357 goals.
Jimmy
I would
Greaves.
not have gotten that. Hey, Adrian Costin got it.
Adrian, decent from you, Adrian. Decent.
Adrian had a question, I think, earlier on Twitter, Brucey. Did you ever find that candy you were looking for? Maybe it wasn't
Which
a
one was
candy.
that?
Maybe it was a cookie.
Oh,
like
Hobnobs. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Found them. Great with a cup of Yorkshire tea. It's the law in England.
That's the most British thing I've ever heard.
It's the law
Yorkshire
because you
tea.
can dunk them. You can dunk them. They have more than one dunk in them. That's what you know by a good biscuit in England.
A good dunk integrity is what you're looking
Yeah,
for in
yeah.
a good
Oh
biscuit.
yeah, you wanted that thing like a marine. You want it to be in and out.
All right, Brucey,
Like green.
your question. In
Come on,
what year were yellow and red cards first introduced?
Little history.
Kalen looks like he's ready to steal.
Oh no, no clue.
No, all right.
Grow up that anyone knows that. 19.
You got the first two digits right.
Thank you.
Brushed it.
88.
You are incorrect.
19. Yellow records. I feel like those should have been around for a while. Maybe I'm gonna go 1939.
That is also incorrect, but you would have won by Price is Right rules. 1970. 1970 is the answer. All right, so we're still at 1-1, right?
No,
No,
he's
Kalen's up.
2-1.
Kalen got a steal.
2-1, that's right. Excuse me.
So it all comes down to World Cup.
All right then. All right.
Brucey's got this one for sure.
No,
Brucey.
not this
Well, it's
one.
first to four, right? It's first to four, so could still
keep
go
it going.
beyond that. Yeah.
Brucey, which Dutch player scored a famous wonder goal against Argentina in the 1998 FIFA World Cup? Dutch player, famous wonder goal against Argentina, 1998 FIFA World Cup.
98.
1998. He's
There's
struggling.
no way Cruyff was still knocking around then.
I've been accused of having a poker face. I'm not giving anything away.
Van Bronckhorst.
Incorrect. Kalen, do you have a guess, my friend?
The only other person I can think of in that era is Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Was it?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Can I steal this one?
Yes, David.
As a Gooner, it's Dennis Bergkamp.
That's correct. David. We should have got Adrian on here. We need to get Adrian in here to play a little football.
Yeah, we got people in the comments here crushing this game.
Yeah, they're good at it.
They're crushing it 3 seconds after the answers arrived.
Oh, look at that. Shade thrown at the black and yellow family.
I'm
That's
jealous.
how it is.
Alex Touche in the chat wondering about before there were red and yellow cards, you could just do whatever you wanted, right?
Correct.
That's right.
decent
That's how-
from Touche.
That's how football worked before that.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, Touche.
The Wild West. I feel bad about them, but Brucey, these are random draws, okay, man? Like, this is not us influencing the game in any way whatsoever.
Oh,
That would be
no.
That would be
Absolutely
untoward.
not,
You guys are making us look bad. We know nothing about football.
Kalen, you get this one first, buddy. Which player scored the infamous Hand of God goal?
yeah. Oh, grow up. I'm logging up. It's absolutely disgrace.
Maradona.
Yeah, 3-1 Kalen. Brucey's so mad. Brucey, I'm sorry.
There's actually an agenda against us at World Cup.
There's
I'm
an
not joking.
agenda
Anyway,
against Wolves.
There's
All
an
right.
agenda against Wolves. There's an agenda against England.
All right, so
Lampard
this
scored.
one, Brucey, speaking of England in the World Cup, I'm going to give you another World Cup question. England beat which team in the 1966 FIFA World Cup final?
West Germany.
That's correct. Back in the game. All right, Kalen, this is, if you win this one, if you get this one, you win the game.
Oh, jeez.
We're on World Cup.
World Cup?
Where was the 2002 FIFA World Cup hosted? There are two answers. Either one of them will give you the win.
2002. See, I knew I was going to embarrass myself. 2010, South Africa. 2002.
2002.
No, I know. I'm
Let
back.
him work through the process.
What?
You got this, Kalen.
It was hosted here, wasn't it?
Is that your final answer? So much for your poker face, Lucas.
Yeah, I know. I mean, 2006 was. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. It's a shame.
All right, Brucey, you could steal this to tie it up at 3.
Who knows?
Korea.
South Korea is correct. Japan and South Korea, either one of those would have been accepted. We are tied at 3.
Adrian, trivia god.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adrian's actually the GOAT. Get him involved. He made this game.
Adrian wrote
Yeah, he
this
actually
game.
wrote it. Yeah.
All right, Lucas, you're asking the final questions here.
All right, let's go to general knowledge. I feel like we've tapped out the World Cup. All right, here we go. Who's up? Is it your turn, Brucey?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Which football team plays its home games at Filbert Street?
Oh, no idea. Luton Town.
No, but you did get the first letter correct, which is going to be a clue for Mr. Kalen.
Oh, what are the L teams?
Loudon United.
Was that a Fox?
No, I would never do that. I value the integrity of this game more than anything else.
Because Leicester, that's something. Leicester.
Leicester City, final answer?
Yeah.
Correct.
No, it's not. No.
What? Filbert?
They play at the King Power.
Yeah, King Power
The
Stadium.
King Power.
It's not my fault you gave me an
No,
outdated
this is
game,
rigged.
Brucey. Just take your
This
L.
is rigged. This
This
is rigged.
is rigged.
All right. So, Kalen Ryden, I think you're the winner, man.
But
Doesn't feel good.
But hold on. Should we confess? Because
Confess what?
he completely crushed the first one that we didn't think he would know. You've been set up, Brucey.
Oh, you serious?
Well, we thought you weren't going to get Patty Kinney, and they gave me the answer to that to steal. Now, do you think that I knew Massimo Taibi? No chance.
Oh my, are you serious? I was like, this guy's unbelievable. He's pulled Massimo Taibi out of his top hat.
I was like,
No.
if he knows Patty Kinney, I'll be impressed. And you crushed it like 5 seconds after they asked the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
keep
All
going.
right. Just to make it fair, I'm gonna ask one more question, and whoever answers it first is our true winner. How about that?
Go on, man.
Okay.
All right. Newcastle United striker Solomon Rondon is from which country?
Venezuela.
There you go.
See, this guy deserves to win.
Look
I
at
couldn't
that.
take it from him.
Hard work, humility, and diligence right there on display in the chat. Guys, we're up against it, and we're going to run out of hosting time unless we wrap this up pretty soon. So let's transition into our favorite part. Brucey, very much the deserving winner. Kalen, you were a great sport throughout all of it, and thank you for being a Confederate throughout this whole thing in terms of playing our silly game with us at the beginning and then give Brucey a hard time on the back end. We always like to close up with talking about our favorite part of our time spent together. So, Brucey, as the champion, what was your favorite part of tonight?
I think having that time dedicated to the academy lads, I think that everyone at New Mexico United and further afield should be so proud of those guys and what they're doing. Training like the young professionals that they are, they're going to make a huge difference, not just at this club, but also in the state of New Mexico in the years to come. It's something to be excited about. And it's good for me and Kalen to have people walking in our footsteps. So it keeps us accountable for every move on and off the field that we make.
Kalen Ryden, we took an hour and 5 minutes of your time that you'll never get back. What was your favorite part of that time?
Guys, keep your eye out for good blokes jogging. It's gonna be class. We talk a lot of soccer, a lot of New Mexico United, on here tonight we did, and just this podcast in general. So to hear about good blokes jogging, what it will do, what it's going to do, and I think it's really going to take off, and it's going to be top class. So be on the lookout for that.
So Nigel Higginbotham has resounded and resonated with our fans. They want to know, like, are we looking at a contract for this guy? Is he going to be a part of this going forward? We hope.
Well, Kalen, you know him, right? You've met
Yeah,
Nigel?
I'll text him. I'll FaceTime him. It's late in England. He's probably asleep by now. It's early morning. So I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Appreciate that. Dave, my friend, my co-host, what was your favorite part of the night?
Obviously, the Nigel Higginbotham analysis. But beyond that, I got to agree with Kalen here. The good blokes jogging, really excited about that. I think it's a great thing that these guys have put together. Just kind of shows that these guys go above and beyond at every opportunity they get. They don't have to do that. It's a decision they made to make you guys have made to make your community better. And I'm grateful to you guys for that. I think that the cause is important and something that's not talked about enough. So thank you both for being a big part of that and making that happen.
Robert Romero in the chat is right. It is Sir Nigel. Let's just show a little respect. People work
Sorry
hard
about
for
that.
these titles. It's the least we can do is to give them the proper respect. Brucey's lack of being impressed with such a big name as Sir Nigel was probably what was most impressive to me. It just once again reiterates to me what a cool customer Daniel Bruce is, that he looks down the barrel of just unmitigated fame, reputation, and he's unfazed. I mean, who else would talk to Sir Nigel Higginbotham and the first thing they say to him is that their accent is ghastly? That's the sort of confidence you can only get from someone like Daniel Bruce. And it's just so fun to see not only him back on the pitch for us, but him, infused into what the academy is doing and bringing that forward in both a coaching and in some respects a co-player paradigm. So that has just been fun to witness. I'm over the moon excited about the season. I guess that's overriding everything, is that we're like 5 days from kicking this bad boy off. Yep. And it's going to be something wild. Daniel Bruce, Kalen Ryden, could not thank you enough for your time as a lifelong dork, band nerd / non-athlete. If you had told me when I was 17 years old that I would get to spend my Monday nights talking to awesome dudes like you, I would have called you a liar and then said, let me get back to my drum practice. But you guys have been amazing, and not just on the podcast, but in general. Dave, let's put a bow on this thing with a little house cleaning and then get on out of here before we have to trim.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by Crocs. Thank you so much, Crocs, for sponsoring us today.
Yes.
Get involved.
Appreciate this sponsorship today. Please don't sue us. But no, thank you all for tuning in again. Perilous Podcasters Guild. Please support them. They support local. We support local. Make sure you keep your eye out for Good Blokes Jogging. Follow them on Good Blokes Jog on Twitter and on Instagram. Jog in your Crocs if you want. And give us a rating, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Really, really excited for the season, just 5 days away. Best of luck, boys, as you take on RGV. We're proud of you. We're grateful for you. Can't wait to see you continue to do amazing things and take on RGV in this first week. Appreciate you guys for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Means a lot.
We'll be back on next week. Until then, Lucas, somos unidos.
We are united.